Chase, obviously a tough result, a season-ending result. Just how do you process this result and so many minutes removed the season as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I think first things first, I want to thank the senior class, administrators, and everybody who's been helpful getting us, everything that we've needed this year in order to compete. And I mean, ultimately, the A-10 is just extremely difficult. It just is. You play 8 games, and only 8 teams out of 13 get in the postseason. That's the worst in any conference in the nation as far as percentage. And so again, at some point, with a conference that's as strong as this, we know that we have to learn and grow, and then we have to capitalize on our moments. You cannot drop points in this conference. And so I think, the message from me to the group afterwards is, what are we learning from this? How do we take it into the off season and go? Because, we graduate 4 seniors that gave us everything, and I appreciate that from them. But ultimately, we've got a great group coming back that has to now take a step forward. And so that's what this is can we take that next step forward and continue to make the alums and continue to make the families and then the campus community proud of who we are and what we do. And again, we're one of 3 teams in the conference that's made the last 4 or 5 A-10 tournaments. And so it's bound to happen in a rebuilding year a little bit for us, but it's unfortunate, but you just got to move forward and you got to just keep driving and stick to the process and put your arm around the guys on nights like tonight and learn from it and move forward.
Outside of the set piece, the effort was just immediately there. Rushing ball, possessing ball meaningfully. Again, just the finish didn't go your way tonight. Just what kind of positives can you take from the pockets and move that forward and keep that momentum?
Well, I mean, Mason's an excellent team. We knew that coming in. I mean, they're legit an NCAA tournament team that, if beating some of the teams they've beaten this year. So again, I think that we need to hold our heads really high. We talked about leaving tonight with no regrets, and I think that we've been able to do that because the guys literally gave everything. We went toe-to-toe with one of the top teams in the country, in my opinion, and ultimately we've done that most of the year. It's now just about getting over that hump and finding the back of the net and putting those W's in place.
Bend, don't break has been a mantra that you've had throughout this process, and there was an opportunity at many times to be broken, but you never broke. Just how proud are you of that you held character and you held discipline and you held attack through it all?
Yeah, I mean, I'll argue that we did break and we lost 1-0, but ultimately I understand what you're saying. I think it is about just that mentality, that character within the group. You commend the guys. Again, you put your arms around them. It's a group that literally gave everything, and then sometimes it's just not going to go your way. That is our sport at the end of the day. You can play exceptionally well and lose. It's one of the few sports in the world that is the case. And so again, I really enjoyed this season. I enjoyed this group. I hate the off season. Not having a game for so long is just brutal. I'm hoping this new NCAA model comes through and gives us a chance to actually give these guys the experience that they deserve within the NCAA. So hopefully that comes to fruition. And until then, we just put our heads back down and get back to work.
Preseason, you talked about how this was going to be collective and it was going to take a collective, and now you're using the word rebuilding. Just how have you figured it out as a unit, and what kind of tenets can you take to build this thing forward?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more positives than negatives to take from this season. Again, I think you're inches away from results in every game we've been in. And so for me, that is just the next step. You've got to find a way to create your own luck. You have to pull the soccer gods onto your side because they're not just going to give it to you. And I think that tonight was a perfect example of that, not being able to capitalize. And obviously George Mason did a great job. They're a really good side, and they capitalized on the one they got.
You mentioned the offseason. I know how much you dislike it, but how much are you going to watch film, build this intentionally, and try to regroup?
I mean, that's what we always do. So it's no different than any other year. We know we have a great core group of guys. Now we just have to make sure that we keep going in the right direction and keep our standards as high as possible, stay disciplined, keep moving forward.